Good evening, Your Honor. This is Sandra McLemore. My video is not working. I just wanted to make you aware of that.
Okay, thank you. Doug, are you here this evening?
Judge Lawrence, Charles Shaler with Baker Donaldson. Good evening.
Good evening. Doug, can you hear me?
Are you looking for Doug Chambers?
I am. Is it not him tonight?
Yes, this is Julie. I'm filling in for him.
Hi, Julie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks. How's my sound?
Sounds good to me.
Thanks.
This is Dominic DeBerry from Competitive Power Ventures. Just doing a sound check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Dom.
Okay, great. Thanks, Charles.
Going to wait a couple more minutes to get started. There was one member of the public who wanted to participate this evening and was sent a link, and I don't see that person having joined us yet. So I'm going to wait until 7 to start. Okay, I have 7 o'clock. Just so everyone knows, this is being live streamed to the Public Utility Law Judge YouTube channel. Julie, if we could go on the record, please. Again, good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, July 11th, and it's approximately 7 p.m. Welcome to the Public Service Commission's public hearing in case number 9437, which is captioned in the application of CPV Maryland, LLC, for a certificate of public convenience and necessity, authorizing the modification of the St. Charles Generating Station. The applicant seeks to modify the certificate of public convenience and necessity it has for the St. Charles Energy Center in Waldorf, Maryland, a 745 megawatt natural gas-fired electrical power generating facility on approximately 76 acres in Charles County. PJM Interconnection LLC, PJM, the independent system operator that facilitates and controls electric power grid operations in Maryland, is responsible along with local utilities for having a black start plan to restart the electric power grid in the event of a system-wide blackout. In November of 2021, PJM selected CPV to provide future black start capabilities from its St. Charles Energy Center. Black start involves the addition of dedicated on-site emergency generators to provide the necessary electrical power to restart the combustion turbines. By restarting the St. Charles Energy Center, that electrical power will be utilized to restart the regional electric grid. CPV's proposal to satisfy its PJM obligation is to construct 4 3.5 megawatt diesel-fired black start emergency generators at its existing St. Charles Energy Center. The generators will be U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Tier 2 certified engines and fired exclusively with ultra-low sulfur diesel fuel. These 4 generators will total 14 megawatts and provide sufficient on-site electrical power to restart 1 combustion turbine without outside power sources. After the combustion turbine has started, all dedicated emergency generators will be shut off. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to take comments from the public on the project. I cannot answer any questions because this is a case under my consideration, but you can ask questions of the parties here tonight. All of the documents filed in this case are available on the Public Service Commission's website, and they can be accessed using the case search feature and typing in the case number 9437. The evidentiary hearing in this matter will be held on Thursday this week, July 14th, starting at 10 a.m. It will be held in the Commission's 19th floor hearing room. I want to start tonight's hearing with a brief overview of the project, anything I left out or about my description of the project by CPV or anything they want to add. Counsel?
Good evening, Judge Lawrence. Thank you. Charles Shaler with Baker Donaldson. You certainly covered my introduction as to the project. With me is Dominic DeBerry. He is Vice President and Asset Manager with CPV. Also with me is Bill Carl with Montrose Environmental. He is our consultant. I had a brief opening statement, but as I mentioned, you covered most of it with the description you provided. I think we are here to provide a brief presentation and answer any questions that may arise. We believe we've met the regulatory criteria as set forth in the public utility article. But briefly, CPV does have an existing facility in Waldorf, Maryland, off of Billingsley Road, where it operates its current facility. It was selected by PJM to be a black start capable facility, and as such filed in January of this year, 2022, an application to modify its CPCN for the 4 diesel generators that you correctly identified. I think as we will describe, the property is nearby a county landfill and an aggregates facility surrounded by woods, so we're not near any residential subdivisions, so we shouldn't have any adverse impacts. We've been in operation for several years at the facility, and I think what we are seeking here is simply to provide the regional and wider grid some electrical stability and reliability should there be an unforeseen circumstance and the grid goes down. Without saying more, I'm going to introduce Dominic DeBerry on behalf of CPV and let him go from there. Dominic?
Thank you, Charles. Good evening, Your Honor, and good evening others on the call here. As I'm talking, our colleague Bill Carl will go ahead and share some overhead photos of the site. And I'll go through opening remarks and descriptions and beg your patience if some of this is repetitive from what you had stated and also Charles. But
Dominic, can I interrupt you for a minute?
Absolutely.
I just tried to share the figures that we were going to present. And when I did that, it says that I cannot share content unless the host, co-host, or presenter makes me the presenter.
I see.
So maybe we can just describe the location. Yeah.
Okay.
I can attempt to give you hosting capabilities. Is that Mr. Carl?
Yes.
Okay.
They weren't crucial, Judge Lawrence. They were just, a figure showing the facility in relation to Waldorf and an aerial photograph showing the surrounding area and the existing facility. So,
Okay. Because making him a co-host is something I should be able to do, but I haven't
Mhm.
accomplished
Yeah,
that
all
ever.
of these figures are included in the application as well as the ERD.
correct. They were going to be figures 1 through 5, but Dominic, why don't you proceed? And
Right, yeah, they're certainly not critical, and they're certainly part of the evidence package. Okay, my name, Your Honor, is Dominic DeBerry. I'm Vice President with Competitive Power Ventures, CPV, and asset manager for the CPV Maryland LLC, also known as CPV St. Charles. CPV is an electric power developer and provides that focuses on providing safe, reliable, cost-effective, and environmentally responsible power in the United States. CPV is based in Boston and Silver Springs, Maryland. Boston, Massachusetts, and Silver Springs, Maryland. CPV owns or operates 9 electric power generating projects that are either solar, wind, or natural gas-fired units. One of those projects is, in fact, St. Charles Energy Center, which is located in Waldorf, Maryland, off of Billingsley Road, as Charles previously mentioned.
And I did make Mr. Carl a presenter if he wants to show the figures.
Thank you. Go ahead. And St. Charles Energy Center is surrounded by forest, county landfill, and mining activity, and is located on 76 acres. And as you can see from the photos here, zeroing in on the project site, down one further, this is an aerial photo, satellite photo of the area, and you can see the industrial activities in the surrounding area. So St. Charles Energy Center is a 745 megawatt power plant that is in a what's called a 2x1 combined cycle configuration. And the 2x1 means that there's 2 General Electric gas turbines that provide energy to the grid, and the exhaust from those gas turbines goes into a heat recovery steam generator, and then which creates steam, and then there's 1 steam turbine. So 2 gas turbines and 1 steam turbine, and together it's called a combined cycle unit. Competitive power, the plant provides enough energy for the grid to supply approximately 700,000 single-family homes. As part of the commitment to staying green, St. Charles Energy Center was built on an old sand and gravel mine and uses reclaimed wastewater from the county wastewater treatment plant as part of its processes. The St. Charles Energy Center employs 23 full-time employees from the local area. It's been in operation since 2017, February 2017, after it obtained its CPCN from the PSC. Tonight's hearing is necessary to modify the Public Convenience and Necessity CPCN to allow CPV to continue to provide steady and reliable power to the grid in the event of a total or regional grid shutdown. CPV submitted its application to the Public Service Commission in January of 2022 and has worked with both local and state regulatory agencies on this application. CPV was selected by PJM to be a Black Star facility should there be a grid failure. And as Charles and Your Honor yourself have gone through, that normal way this power plant starts out is that it takes power from the grid and to start its two combustion turbines. And once those two combustion turbines get into a self-sufficient mode where it generates enough power to self-supply itself, then it does no longer take it no longer takes energy from the grid. However, in a blackout condition, there is no power to start those engines. Therefore, this project puts in those 4 generator sets that we described to provide that black start capability for those combustion turbines without having to need outside power. Black start is a term used to restart the power plant independently, like I just said, without power from the grid through alternate means via these 4 gen sets. In this case, CPV proposes to black start its facility in the unlikely event of a grid failure through the installation of an operation of 4 Tier 2 diesel generators. The 4 generators will be used to start one of the existing combustion turbines. Once the CT is up and running, its power will be used to start the other CTs or as necessary and as directed by the local grid operator. The generators will then be shut down once the combustion turbines are in a self-supply mode. In order to provide this restart capability, CPV requires a modification to its CPCN. This hearing is part of that modification process. CPV selection as a black start facility will replace black start facilities of older, less efficient generation in the area. Typically, units that are now retiring, other coal-fired facilities, etc., had these black start capabilities associated with them, and those facilities need to be replaced with the modern generation, as CPV St. Charles is. The project will be entirely on CPV's property with no land clearing necessary. Disturbance will be minimal during construction. St. Charles has already approved the site plan through the Development Services Permit Review process, and the project will benefit the local region by providing this black start capability to the area.
Thank you, Dominic. And Bill Carl will now finish up, Your Honor, and provide some overview with respect to the environmental attributes. Bill?
Yes, I'm sorry. I had to stop sharing to turn myself off of mute. Good evening. My name is Bill Carl, and my role on the CPV team was to prepare the CPCN modification application, as well as the supporting environmental review document, which looks at all impacts from the construction and operation of the Black Start Reliability Project to environmental, natural resource, and socioeconomic impacts. As Your Honor and Dominic have stated, the project will entail 4 EPA Tier 2 certified 3.5 megawatt emergency generators. They will be fired using ultra-low sulfur diesel. The ultra-low sulfur diesel will be stored in tanks that are integral to the emergency generator package. So there will be no additional above ground storage tanks of ultra-low sulfur diesel. The generators will only be fired for maintenance and testing, with the exception of the Black Start event. Maintenance and testing by regulation is limited to 100 hours per year. CPV has projected the actual operation of these Black Start emergency generators to be approximately 30 to 60 minutes per month, which relates to 6 to 12 hours per year. In addition, the combustion turbine must be tested for approximately an hour or two per year to operate in low load mode, which is required for the black start event. So when there is a black start event, all 4 black start emergency generators are required to start up to provide the necessary power to start one combustion turbine. This one combustion turbine then will operate between a 10% load and gradually ramp up its load until it hits approximately 48% load. At that point, the combustion turbine will be in emissions compliance mode and will be operating in compliance with all permit conditions. At that point, CPV has the option of starting the second combustion turbine based on power from the first combustion turbine. That turbine then can operate in low mode from 10% to 48% load as it ramps up. Only one combustion turbine will be operating in low load mode at any one time. The environmental review document looked at, as I mentioned, the impacts to the environment, natural resources, socioeconomic impacts from this black start operation. And it was concluded that there will be minimal, if any, impacts to the environment, natural resources, or socioeconomic issues. There will be no additional water consumption from the operation of these 4 black start emergency generators. There will be no additional reclaimed water necessary from Mattawoman. There will be no groundwater required. There will be no discharge of any type of processed water that would impact groundwater or stormwater. The footprint of the 4 emergency generators will be very minimal as compared to the overall project power block. So any additional impacts to stormwater from the additional impervious surface of the four black start emergency generators will be minimal. There will be, as Dominic mentioned, there will be no additional land clearing. This will all be constructed on land already developed by CPV. There will be minimal, if any, visual impacts from this project, as the 4 black start emergency generators will have stacks that will be approximately 20 to 25 foot high as compared to existing stacks from the power blocks. There will be minimal noise impacts, as the units will only be operated for 30 to 60 minutes per month. So in summary, in looking at all of the impacts, I'm sorry, I must go back. The last thing was the air emissions impacts, and it was determined that that would be, if anything, the primary issue to look at. And when we looked at impacts from the air emissions from these 4 black start emergency generators, as well as any emissions from the turbines operating in low load mode, it was determined that this qualifies as a minor source of air emissions. And in our evaluation, it was determined that the impacts from any air emissions were deemed to be minimal, if any. So therefore, when we looked at all of the impacts, it was deemed that they were all going to be minimal, if any, to the environment, natural resources, and socioeconomic issues. It was also determined that this project would meet all federal, state, and local laws and regulations. And with that, Charles, that concludes my portion of our presentation.
Thank you, Bill. Your Honor, that would be our brief presentation. And at this point, we would defer back to you as to how you want to proceed from here.
Okay, I'll ask Mr. Sammartino if you could just briefly explain OPC's role in this matter.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Michael Sammartino. I'm an attorney with the Maryland Office of People's Counsel. Office of People's Counsel is the state's consumer advocate. We have intervened in this proceeding to represent consumer interests. After so far throughout our review, we have not identified any issues to raise. That said, we're here to hear any concerns that members of the public might raise. That's all I have for this evening, Your Honor.
Thank you. And Mr. Dean, do you want to speak to staff's role and staff's position in this case?
Michael Dean on behalf of the staff. Staff conducts an independent review of the application and makes its recommendations. We've had engineering testimony that we filed in support of granting the application, and that's all I have to say. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. And Ms. McLemore, if you could tell us about PPRP's position and recommendations that they filed in the case.
Good evening, Your Honor. Sandra McLemore on behalf of the Power Plant Research Program. With me today, I have Mr. Seaman, who is going to provide the presentation, if that is okay with Your Honor.
Yes. Does he need presentation capabilities?
No, I do not, Your Honor.
Okay. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. Like Sandra said, my name is Sean Seaman. I'm with the Power Plant Research Program. I'm the project manager assigned to this case. PPRP is part of the state of Maryland. We intervened on behalf of the state of Maryland. PPRP functions to ensure that Maryland meets its electrical demands at reasonable costs while protecting our natural resources. We reviewed the application submitted by CPV, as well as the supporting documents such as the ERD. We conducted our own independent analysis along with our partners at the Maryland Department of Environment, and that resulted in us filing documents in this case. On June 22nd, we filed our project assessment report, very similar to the applicant's ERD. We also submitted or filed recommended licensing conditions as well as written testimony at that time. Then on July 8th, this past Friday, we filed revised recommended licensing conditions with some supporting documentation to explain that. That's the end of my presentation, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to share my screen real quickly, and if I can do that. No, not that. This is the Maryland Public Service Commission website you should be seeing.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this is the case search feature that I mentioned. So you would click on case and you would type in 9437 and click on go. This will actually give you everything in the case that was filed in the original CPCN. But if you scroll down, you'll see, starting with the application filed on January 14 of 2022, all the way through the Mr. Seaman just talked about final recommended licensing conditions that were filed on July 8th. That's where you would find those conditions and also any testimony in the case. So at this time, I wanted to see if members of the public are here that want to be heard. Is there a Jamila Smith with us this evening? Okay, and I'm not sure who Preston Patterson is.
Your Honor, Preston Patterson is a member of the CPV team.
Okay, thank you. So I don't see that Ms. Smith joined us. And I don't see anyone else, but if there's someone else on the call who wishes to be heard, please unmute yourself and state your name. Okay, not hearing from anyone. In addition to making comments this evening, written comments in this matter may be submitted electronically or by first-class mail through Thursday, July 14th. I'm going to share my screen again and go over how comments can be submitted electronically. So the tools section in the middle of the screen, if you go down to make a public comment, click on that. We'll give you instructions on how to do it. If the comments are submitted by first-class mail, they must be addressed to Andrew S. Johnston, Executive Secretary, Maryland Public Service Commission, William Donald Schaefer Tower, 6 St. Paul Street, 16th floor, Baltimore, Maryland, 21202. And I will post that address at the end of the hearing. Again, I want to take a minute to see if anyone has joined us. Or will join us in the next few minutes. So I'm just going to wait a few minutes and then post the address that people can send written comments into. So now on the screen is the address. Please reference case number 9437 on any comments that are submitted. And I want to take one last chance to see if anyone has joined us who wishes to be heard this evening. Okay, I don't see that anyone was able to join us. Thank you, everyone, for your presentations this evening, and we can go off the record. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Take care.